coming to some of the examples. So let us take three cases. In the first case, we have 0 at minus of 0.9 and we have pole at 0.9 and 0. Okay, so we have two poles and 1 0. It satisfies the criteria of number of poles should be greater than equal to the number of the zeros. Okay, so this is a realizable filter. In the case 2, we have 0 at 0.9 and pole at 0. This is also a realizable filter. And thirdly, we have zeros at 0.9, minus of 0.9 and 0.9 and both at 0.9 and 0. So once we get this kind of question, our first target would be to look into the pole 0 plot. So in the pole 0 plot, this is the z plane and then we have the real z and the imaginary z. Okay, so we have zeros at minus of 0.9 over here. Then we have pole at 0 and pole at 0.9. Okay. In the second case, if you see, we have placed the 0 and we have placed the pole. Okay. In the third case, we have zeros at minus of 0.9 and again there is another 0 at 0.9 and then we have a pole at 0.9 again over here at the same location and 0 over here. Okay. So these are the three conditions. If you see over here, if you consider the second case that you have a 0 and you have a pole. In the first case, we have an extra pole at 0.9 and lastly, we have placed from the first case, if you take go on to the third case. So over a pole, we have placed a 0. Okay. Now we have discussed in our last class that while doing the numerical, we would be concentrating at 5 frequency points. Okay. Now, modulus of this amplitude as modulus of Hz at 0 or the DC frequency, what it would be? We have to look into the distance of the pole, distance of the 0 to the DC frequency, and this comes out to be 1.9 divided by from the origin to the DC frequency, it is 1, and then from the second pole to the DC frequency, it is 0.1. So if you calculate this, it comes out to be 19. So the gain of the first filter at DC frequency, it comes out to be 19. Okay. On the contrary, if we calculate the gain of the filter at pi, it comes out to be 0.1 divided by 1 multiplied by 1.9. Okay. So it comes out to be 0.05. Okay. Over here, I have only considered the cases of 0 and pi. At the end of the class, if you have some time, then you have to calculate the filter responses at these other three frequencies, and by the end of the day, you have to return it to the TA. Okay. In the second case, if you follow the same path, at DC frequency, we have 1.9, okay, and at pi, we have 0.1. Now, what is the difference between the case 1 and case 2? In the case 1, if you see, you have a pole which is very close to the DC frequency, and hence, if you see, the gain at the DC frequency is much higher, because we are looking in the first case, and if you compare the first case and the second case, the other two parameters, that means the zero and the pole, they are at the same location. What we have done in the first case? In the first case, we have added an extra pole, and due to the addition of that extra pole, if you see, the gain has been increased multitude. Okay, so that is an important thing. Now, another observation, at the highest frequency, if you see, both these filters, they are acting as a low pass filter. Okay. Now, if you see the effect at the highest frequency, where the port should have the minimal effect, if you see, since we have placed an extra pole over here, even then, if you see, the amplitude response at the highest frequency, it is also lower than in the second case. Now, why this is so? This is because in this amplitude response, if you see the position of the pole from the highest frequency FM, what is happening? If you see, the denominator component has increased significantly, and due to that increase in the denominator component, the overall amplitude component at FM, it has significantly decreased. Okay. Then in the second case, at pi, we are having 0.1, which is lower than this thing. Ideally, if we remember from our what do you call, from the rubber membrane concept, we had discussed that there would be some ripple effect at the high frequency, and however the amplitude will be low, but how low we could not determine. But by using this formula, we can see exactly what is happening when we are placing the pole towards the DC component. Okay. Then there is another important parameter over here. In the third case, if you see, we have placed a 0 over the pole at this end. Okay. So because of this reason, what is happening? If you see, the amplitude response as DC frequency, it is 1.9, which is equivalent to the second case. Similarly, at pi also, we are getting the same amplitude response. Okay, both in the low frequency and the high frequency, we are getting same frequency response as compared to the case number 2. Okay. Now, what does this say? If you remember correctly, in our last class, I have told that placement of a 0 over a pole or a placement of a pole over a 0, in both the cases, what happens? The effect of the poles and the zeros, they are cancelled. So the placement of the 0 over a pole, it cancels the effect of the pole, and placement of a pole over a 0, it cancels the effect of the 0. Okay. So this you need to remember, not only in the amplitude response, but also in the phase response. Okay. And when you will be solving for the other three frequency components, you will find the results are same. Okay. Now, while considering this case, what I have done, if you see, I have taken all the poles and the zeros in the real axis so as to make my life easier while teaching. But you can expect that you can have some poles and the zeros in the complex domain. That means anywhere in the upper semicircle uh, during your exams or during your this assignments. Okay, so please practice the sums carefully. Now, secondly, after you have found out the amplitude response, we can also find out the transfer function of the system. Now, this transfer function of the system, it is given by z, which is the z plane, okay, z or the z operator, minus of 0.9. Okay, so this comes out to be plus 0.9 divided by z multiplied by z minus 0.9. Why z? This z is because z minus 0, it is becoming z, and z minus of 0.9. So this is the transfer function of the system. Okay. But if I have to realize the filter, what I have told in the previous classes, I have told you that we need the transfer function in terms of z inverse, which is given by delay. So if we convert this, so what we have to do? We have to, what is the power of the z? Highest power of the z? The power of the z is higher in the denominator, so it is z square. We have to divide both numerator and the denominator with z square. So if you do this, so we have z 1 by z plus 0.9 z inverse multiplied by z inverse and divided by what you have. This z gets cancels out, and the second z, it becomes 1 minus of 0.9 z inverse. So we get this as the transfer function. Both these equations, they are correct. Okay. But if you have to find out the locations of the poles and the zeros, you have to use the first part for determining the location of the pole and the zeros. Whereas if I ask you, you find out the transfer function of the system and then realize the filter, then for the realization part, you have to use the second question, this second equation. Okay. Similarly, for the second case, we can find out the xz in this fashion. Okay. So xz, it becomes z minus of 0.9. So it becomes plus of 0.9 divided by z. And over here, if you see z plus 0.9 multiplied by z minus 0.9 divided by z multiplied by z minus 0.9. Now suppose I give you this equation or this pole and this location, and I ask you to find out the transfer function and plot the pole zero plot. So interestingly, what you will find over here at hz, it becomes, see, in the numerator you have an expression of z minus 0.9, and in the denominator also we have an expression of z minus of 0.9. But if you try to cancel it at this stage, what will happen? You will find the location of this pole and the zero will be completely what do you call removed. Okay, so you will be basically implementing the 2. So in that case, your numerical will be incorrect. So when you are given with the location of the poles and the zeros, what I suggest is that you use all the coordinates to determine the equation. Okay, this is the thing. So please be remember, even if you do not place this pole and the zero, you will not have any effect on the amplitude response and the phase response. However, you will be finding a change in the transfer function, and also if you try to realize the filter, the equation would be completely different. Okay, so please be reminded, if I give you the location of the poles and the zeros, then you have to find out the transfer function using all the poles and the zeros, and do not cancel out the components of the poles and zeros which are overlapping. Otherwise, your answer would be incorrect. Okay. Am I clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, coming to the next question. If you I have two more cases. In this case, what we have, z equals to minus of 0.9. Z means this is the zero position, and pole position at 0.9 and 0. Okay. On the contrary, in the second case, I have a 0 at minus of 0.9 and pole at 0.9, another pole at 0.9 and 0. Now, if you look into the amplitude response at the DC frequency, in the first case, it is only 19. Okay. Whereas in the pi, it is 0.05. Okay. In the second case, if you see the amplitude response at the DC frequency, it has increased multitude. So 190. So there has been an increase in the gain of 10 times. Okay. And so the gain has increased 10 times when we have placed a pole over a pole. In the second case, if you see over here, we have 0.1 divided by 1 multiplied by 1.9 multiplied by 1.9. Okay. So in this case, if you see, the amplitude response has reduced in comparison to the first case. Now, why this is happening? This is happening because if you see the distance of the poles to the highest frequency, it has increased, and since it has increased, there is basically a squaring effect because of the location of the additional pole. And we have seen that amplitude response of a filter it is inversely proportional to the distance du. Okay, and again if you multiply it with another d, it will be having a, say, if I take it as capital D, 1 by d as capital D, this factor, it is basically having a squaring effect, and it is basically increasing the component of the denominator considerably. Okay, this is the important thing, and because of this reason also, if you see, we have an magnified effect of zero at higher frequency, even though we have placed a pole which is far off from the FM, but the placement of the pole, additional pole, not pole, the placement of an additional pole, it also had an effect on the highest frequency point, which is far off from the additional pole. Okay. But what is the important point over here? The important point over here is that at the resonant frequency, in this case, the resonant frequency is 0 hertz or 0 radians. So for this case, if you see, the effect is very high or considerably high, right? Okay. So when you place a pole near to a particular frequency, it will definitely have a high effect to the frequency which is nearby. However, it can also play an effect on the other frequency components. Okay. Now, similar to the previous case, if we take up this case, the third example, in the third example, we have two cases. In the first case, we have 0 at minus of 0.9 and poles at 0 and 0.9. On the contrary, in the second case, we have zeros at minus of 0.9 and minus of 0.9 and pole at 0 and 0.9. Over here, if you see, this is the pole 0 plot in the first case. In the second case, if you see, over the 0, we have placed another 0. Okay. So, if you look into the pi radius, because the omega naught for these zeros, it is at pi. So in the pi, in the first case where there was only 1 0, it is 0.05, whereas where we are having two zeros, in the second case it is 0.005. So there is a reduction of 10 times. There is a reduction in the amplitude response of 10 times, right? However, if you see, the addition of this 0 at the DC frequency, it has increased the amplitude response at the DC frequency. At the DC frequency. Okay. So, from here, we have discussed, if you see, we have discussed 3 to 5, 7 number of cases. So what are the takeaway from here? The first takeaway is that when we are placing zeros and poles over each other, they are cancelling their effect. In the second case, second stuff, what we saw is that when we place repeated poles, it is increasing the amplitude gain. It is increasing the gain at resonant frequency, but it is also playing an significant effect on the other frequency components too. Okay. Similarly, when we are placing repeated zeros, what is happening? The gain at the resonant frequency, it is affecting the most, but the gain at the other frequencies are also being affected. In this case, if you see, there has been an increase in the gain. On the other hand, if you see the effect of the additional poles, it has reduced the gain at the other frequencies. Okay, so you have to look into this. So repeated poles gain at the resonant frequency is affected the most, that is, it is increased, but at other frequencies it is basically decreasing. On the other hand, gain at the resonant frequency, it decreases basically. Okay, and at other frequencies it is basically increasing. Are you getting my point? So if you see in gist, wherever you want to place a pole, if you are including an additional pole anywhere in the Z plane, what you are doing basically is that you are altering the frequency component or the frequency response of the filters altogether. Even if there is a minute change in the response, there will be some changes. Okay, it may be minute, it may be very drastic, depending upon the placement of the poles and the zeros. And also there may be cancelling out of the effect of the poles and the zeros. Okay. Yeah. Suppose now we have a transfer function, something like this. It is a generalized transfer function and it is having a single pole. Okay, 1 by 1 plus a z inverse. Okay, now suppose I ask you to find out the amplitude response and the phase response of this of the filter. What you have to do is that if you look into the z, we have previously discussed that z is nothing but e to the power j omega t. Okay, and we already have this -1, so this minus it comes. So we can rewrite this equation into this h of omega t Now, why it has become only omega t? Because we are just concentrating on a specific point. Okay, on a specific point which is on the unit circle, and therein the frequency is changing. Okay, so whenever you draw this z plane, please write down the real z and imaginary z. Otherwise, your numericals or the answers will be incorrect. But for the sake of to save some time, I am just not writing real z and imaginary z all the times. Okay. So once you have this h of omega t, where is this omega t? Omega t is basically on the unit circle, and we have seen previously that this z can be replaced with e to the power j omega t. Okay. Now, if you further break this down, you will be able to break this down in the form of 1 by 1 plus cos omega t minus j sin omega t. Okay, right? Now over here, if you solve this, you will be getting a what you call a real component and an imaginary component. Now this imaginary component, if you break this down, it can be written as say 1 by a minus jb. Now next what you need to do, once you have this transfer function in this form, you have to multiply the numerator and the denominator with the conjugate of the denominator. Okay. Now when you do that, so what happens? The denominator, it becomes a real number, right? And we have a plus jb, so it can be written as a plus jb. Okay, capital B, capital A plus j of b. So from here we can find out the modulus of h of omega t as under root of capital A square plus capital B square, and h of phase of h of omega t, it can be found out using this chart which we have discussed previously. So if both a and b are real, it would be tan inverse of b by a. Okay. Now if tan inverse, if real component is minus and the imaginary component is positive, it would be tan inverse of b by a plus pi. Now if the real component is minus and also the imaginary component is minus, it becomes the tan inverse of b by a minus of pi. And lastly, if we have a real component A and imaginary component, positive, real component positive and imaginary component negative, then it would be tan inverse of b by a. In all these cases, what I have said, we are taking that a plus jb as the formula. So if there is any negative component, you have to use minus of a and minus of b. Okay, and then you have to put this value accordingly. If it is minus, you have to put minus of a. If it is minus b, you have to put minus of b in this way. Okay, and for the other cases, if we have this any of the point, it is on the either of the axes, then these are the 4 conditions. Okay. So in that way, you can find out the phase response of the filter. So we can look into this numerical when we'll be doing the actual numericals while designing the filters in the FIR and the IIR domains. Now, the main thing over here is that you please look at into the process how you can get the amplitude response and the phase response. Whenever you will be getting something in the term of Z inverse, you convert it into h of omega t equation, where Z will be replaced with e to the power j omega t, so that we get to the frequency component in the or the frequency axis on the Z plane. Then you break it down into the rectangular coordinates, and after breaking it down, you will be having a plus jb or a minus jb, whatever you are getting. Okay. Then after you get this, you multiply both the numerator and the denominator of the equation with the conjugate of the denominator, and from there you get to this form capital A plus JB, and from there you can mathematically find out the amplitude response and the phase response. This is unlike the distance method where you have to calculate the distance. So this is the easier method as compared to the distance method. Okay. Close.